G'day, racing fans. Welcome. We're back. All in show. I'm your host, Michael Gannon, and I'm joined by none other than Dean Watling from the Barrier Attendant. Dino, how are you, mate?
Going well, Gannon. Going well. Another spring is upon us. The good horses are back. The wet weather looks like it's gone. We can see sunshine, the big blue, the big yellow outside. So keen to rip in. We got stacks of content to come, and I'm sure you'll walk us through it today.
Outstanding, mate. We are without our sparring partner, old Louis Willoughby. He's off maybe Bondi Icebergs today. Darwin Cup preparation for Louis. He loves his local cups. How many deep do you reckon Louis is about now? Do you know?
Too many. We tried to get him on the podcast, live streaming from icebergs. He's either in a gutter somewhere in the street, or he's 10 deep somewhere with too many schooners to drink. But
look, he's a good boy. He's probably at home in bed by now. I tell you what, Dino, we have a massive spring coming up. But mate, before we get into what we're doing on our YouTube shows, a couple of winners today, mate. $9.50 winner for the Barrier Attendant followers, and another winner at $4. I got the message. I was too busy running in the parents' race, kids athletics carnival, to be betting. Tell me about it. That's a story for another day. Hey, the success was he hitting form in the spring, or pre-spring.
Yeah, it's nice to get off to the new racing season. Obviously, 1st of August, horse's birthday today. So shout out to all our thoroughbred friends. Wouldn't be a sport without them. But no, nice to hit some form. You can sort of back these. We talk about it all the time, Gannon. When you back these horses, they firm and do nothing. And then you back some and they drift to massive prices and lobs. So nice to get on the right end of the score there. Hopefully it continues working into the spring, especially for our YouTube audience.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, mate, we've got one main race we're got some all-in plays for on Saturday, the Group 2 Missile Stakes over 1,200 metres. Mate, just give us a bit of a profile of previous winners, mate.
Yeah, so it's definitely a good horses race, Dan. And if you take a look back at history, the last 4 years, Fobita for the Michael Costa stable won it last year. He was in outstanding form. The horse probably doesn't have the biggest profile, but that stable was flying at the time. 2020, we saw Eduardo. Year before that, Elise, and the year before that, Pierrata. So those prior three, probably excluding Fobita, we would all say they're Group 1 stars. They're probably a common name in all racing families, racing names around Australia. So it's a good horses race. This year's lineup's got some very key horses, a couple of autumn stars. We're probably going to get on our driest track since the autumn, probably since February. We could probably get back to a soft 5, soft 6 if this rain stays away. Randwick, railing the true. We always love backing those horses in that. So it's a good horses race, Gannon, and we're going to dissect it a little bit more now.
I'll tell you what, mate, we will get into it in a second. But, yeah, for punters out there doing the all-in bets, the track is rated a heavy 8. It was another beautiful drying day today. So you'd probably suggest it's probably out to a soft 7. More than likely getting to a soft 5 by Saturday. Rail true, Dino, I think that sets up for runners just sort of to be finding the best ground, 4 to 6 metres off the rail. Is that your thinking there, mate? Obviously, we know barriers aren't out, but we know what kind of runners we're looking for off that.
Yeah, we're pretty vocal on this rail position, Gannon. You sort of want to be that midfield role and getting to that sort of lanes 4, 5, 6. You don't want to be too far back, but it's probably one of the best racing tracks to back those horses who can run on in Sydney. So it's key, definitely looking for horses, especially when you got speed involved in a race like this, which we do. So key rail position.
Awesome, mate. And speaking of good horses, top of the market with Tab, courtesy of tab.com.au, Forbidden Love, $2.80. Mate, what are your thoughts on Forbidden Love? Really sort of, came into her own last prep.
Yeah, she had an enormous prep. 2 Group 1s, a stack of Group 2s, Group 3s, and was very game in her last start before going out for a spell. 1,200 metres suits her to the ground. She was first up over 1,200 last prep and ran second to Overpass, and that sort of kicked off her campaign. She, like we mentioned, she lapped up those wet tracks. She has that beautiful on-pace racing pattern. She doesn't have to leave. She can sort of sit in that 1-1 sort of midfield role as well. So barrier's key for her. Had a recent trial behind Count de Rupee, which was good. But all eyes are on her. It's sort of a bit of an intent from the stable to get her up nice and early, target another Group 2 race. But have to respect her. I think she's a deserved favourite for this all in.
Yeah, that's it, man. I had a look back earlier today, and she was first up off a trial, but strong trial as well, and then ran very, very impressively in the Group 2 Expressway over 1200. That was on a good three. So punters have just got her penned as a wet tracker. She's run a second overpass in the Group 2 Expressway on a good three. So can't just pen her just purely because you think she's a wet tracker there. Would you agree with that, Dino?
Yeah, and we're probably going to, like you mentioned before, Gannon, we're probably going to be lucky to get back to that soft 5 range. So if anything, there's going to be cut out, which is her perfect going. The stable have been sort of vocal on that. So if anything, it suits her to the ground.
And set weight plus penalties, 57 kilos. Fair dinkum. Let's give her the race. Mate, working down the order, though, we've got Bellucci Babe there for Bjorn, $6.
Yeah, Bellucci Babe, interesting runner. Sort of every prep gets better. Recent trial at Hawkesbury was outstanding. Quickest of the morning. Love the way she rocketed to the line. And wet, dry, no issue. The 1200's a big tick for her. Anything sort of past that, I always have a query her strongly at the end of her races. Another one with a beautiful racing pattern, front and back. And you can draw a line through Forbidden Love in that Expressway Stakes 2 last prep. So there's a couple of lines you can draw through. But yeah, definitely a mare who's getting better and better, which you often see with these mares. The older they get, they just keep coming back better each prep. So definitely keep an eye on her.
Yeah, talented horse. It's really like the profile here. 785 metre trial into a 1,000-metre trial. So, punters, if you are looking for some sort of profile leading into a 1,200-metre run, for mine, that's the go-to. Dino, would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's the typical profile you want to see. That means obviously they're prepped up, they're ready to go, which you've got to be for these high pressure 1,200-metre races. Like we mentioned, there's going to be a bit of speed up front. So you want your horse to be good in condition, can handle that pressure, and the show will kick off that. So definitely for debutants as well. We always talk about it, Gannon. You want those horses trialling over 900 metres, especially if they're having their first ever start. You want to see them handle the pressure. So
there you go, punter. So if you see 2 785s or 2 800s, pen job. Mate, we move on. Count de Rupee, $6. Now, I'll tell you what, Count de Rupee, he has only had the one trial, second to Forbidden Love. That's got to be a little bit of a risk, but does have a very impressive first up record.
Yeah, that first up record's key. We saw last prep, probably didn't have the best preparations due to the wet tracks. The stable sort of kept him fresh. We know he's a good horse, and I think he's yet to sort of burst on the scene as a Group 1 sprinter, but this could be a race where he sort of cements himself, wins a Group 2, and then kicks on to say maybe the Wink Stakes in 2 weeks' time after that, and meets him with a fitness edge. You mentioned his first up record. He was very good last prep. He won the Group 2 Victory Stakes. He has form around Big Parade, those type of horses. And for this sort of race, those horses are in it. So he's got to be in it. I love this horse. He's so progressive. 1,200, it gets up to 1,400 metres. Perfect horse for this Randwick Rail true map, Gannon. I think he's going to get to that perfect spot. As long as he draws a good gate, he's going to be the one smoking the pipe midfield, ready to pounce on hot speed. So I really like him here. I think he's the biggest danger to the favourite. Did you see it the same?
Not really sold, but yeah. The one trial, it's sort of, he's had his one trial, and that's kind of his thing, right? But for mine, I just don't like backing him with the one trial. So pass to mine, but look, it's a recipe for success that they've used. So good horse and good luck to them. Mate, here's a horse that absolutely flies. First up, who has had 2 trials, 780 metres into 1175 metres, Embracer, Waterhouse Bot. That suits my eye a lot better. Embracer at $7. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, like you mentioned, you know the stable very well. Gannon, you know, sort of the way they produce their horses. They use their trials to get them fit. So we want to see those longer distance trials. This horse of the whole field, a lot of them have good first up records, but this horse probably has the best of them all. If you were backing him at the trials to win, you'd have a perfect spreadsheet. He doesn't lose a trial, but we can't bet on trials. Barrier's key for this horse. Loves that dry track. I think if anything in this race, he's the horse who wants it to get back to a soft 5, good 4. I think that's key to him, which we should see. I've got confidence we see, but I'll hand it over to you. I know you like this horse. Any information we should look for?
Absolutely nothing to pass on other than the fact that I just love the profile. I just love it. It's fantastic. But the biggest risk, Dino, is obviously if there's an abundance of speed, it's the horse you want to be on. If you're going to choose one of the leaders, for mine, that's the one you want to be on, depending on how the track's playing. But I like it. There you go. I like it. If I'm going to have two bets, I'll declare it now. If I'm having two bets, it's Embracer and Forbidden Love. They're my two bets. Don't mean to butt in, though. We will get to that later on. Dino, you've got a love affair with this horse. Absolutely bores me to death. Oh, I can't stand it. Halal, $8. Please tell me you've jumped off.
His trial was good this prep. He might be 6 months away, which all Hawks horses are, but his trial was good. He's sort of, I don't know. He's not one of mine for this type of race. He's probably a horse you want to see come back this preparation before we back him. He's got to step up to open grade this time, and he's none of these 3-year-olds against older horses type setup. So for mine, he's not a betting prospect first up, unless his trials are out of the box, which he trials good anyway, but would need to see something special out of the trials. But yeah, good kickoff point for him, and it's nice to see a Hawks horse up and going.
Mate, we're all 6 months away, aren't we? Fair dinkum. Honestly, give it a rest. But yeah, I'll tell you what, one trial, 900 metres, fine, you won, good on you. But for mine, can't be betting up at that point. Mate, Nimmerly, $8, probably the last one we will touch on. What are your thoughts? Very, very talented horse for mine.
Yeah, it's an interesting horse. She's probably never been one of mine. I don't think she's ever back to. I tend to like the profiles, probably opposite of you. I tend to really like those horses midfield and close off a good speed with a turn of foot, which obviously isn't the best betting prospect all the time, but up on pace, can sit sort of handy enough, has a good record, went out a Group 1 winner last start. There's only 2 Group 1 winners in the race. So if you put it out like that, she's got to be a chance. And the market's probably overlooked her a touch if you look at it that sense. Obviously, he's got to do it against the boys here, not doing it against the girls. But yeah, one to sort of watch, I think. Draws a good gate. Matthew Smith stable's flying too.
Yeah, for mine, I couldn't possibly have Halal $8 and Nimmerly $8. So if I had to, if he had to give me 100, I can only have one of those. It'd be Nimmerly with my 100. Dino, let's wrap it up. There is a bit of a long tail there in these nominations. Who knows if they even turn up? I can't imagine Caterspie's going to roll in there unless I want to pick up maybe a cool 3,500 for only 10th. Mate, what's your best all-in play for the Missile Stakes?
I think Count Rupi has to be the play. Best all-in here. You're getting a nice price for a horse that hasn't reached his ceiling, where I think a few in this race have. Like I said, if he draws a good gate and can land that midfield roll on the outside and get to the key lanes, I think he'll be charging late on this dry surface.
Absolutely, mate. Look, I love it. I'm with the 7-year-old now, Embracer. I think first up's ready to fire, and I do love his all-in plays with getting on a horse that will be up on speed. We know you'll be there. You'll give a big shout. There's the field might fall away. You never know. You might know where the field of 6 and 7, and all of a sudden gets complete control. And that is the advantage of these all-in plays. Dino, love your work, mates. I'll tell you what, we have a massive spring coming up. We've got a couple of trainers lined up to talk to us about their spring stars. We've got 4 of probably the best trainers in Australia. You want to just drop a name out there? Just give us one. Just give the punters one trainer that's going to be on the show in the month of August.
Well, it's pretty fitting. Yeah, the premiership this year, he's got a stack of stars, none other than the global stars now too. We saw him absolutely dominate at Ascot, but Chris Waller or Charlie Duckworth from the Waller team should be jumping on to help us through their Group 1 stars, any up-and-comers for the spring, their 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, whatever they have, we're going to go through them. So big name, none better than Chris Waller. Gannon.
Tell you what, we need Louis back for that. We need someone to steady the ship. I'll be a nervous wreck if we get Chris Waller on fair income. Anyway, I look forward to that. It'll be super. We have 3 other trainers joining us as well who are big names, and they're going to steer us through their spring superstars. So we just cannot wait. Not only that, we're jumping in with the boys from the Jump Outs, funnily enough, and we're going to do some trial work over the spring as well. Mate, give us a bit of a wrap on that.
Yeah, pretty exciting, Gannon. I'm a big trial perv. Victoria Jump Outs are a whole different beast. They do things differently down there, but at the same time, there's value to be found, and when there's winners to find, we love that type of stuff. So the boys from the Jump Outs are going to jump on. They've got a great eye down there, teamed up with my eye in Sydney, and we're going to hopefully get the punters some key performances and big trialers each week, and hopefully pushes into some big prices first up.
Super stuff, mate. So the free content keeps rolling on. That is, of course, all free. Make sure you do jump on and subscribe. You will get the alert. It'll come up. We'll let you know as soon as it lands. Now, I'll tell you what, Dino, for the punters that are interested, I'll tell you what we've got lined up next week as well. Right, we're going to do the profiles of the Melbourne Cup. You're handling that one. I've got the Everest, and Louis, he gets out of his coma. Here we're doing the Cox Plate. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to give you punters out there the profile of the last 3 to 5 winners of each of these. And we're going to try and narrow down some all-in plays. We can put a big black line right through some of the ones that just don't profile well and maybe find you some value all-in plays. What do you reckon, Dino? Sound like a plan? Yeah,
sounds like a ripping plan. We all love a long-priced all-in winner for the spring. So hopefully we can steer the punters into a couple.
I tell you what, Dino, we'll leave the punters with something here. Remember the text I sent you about the Everest, mate? 3 of the 5 Everest winners have run in the race the year before. How about that?
It's a very interesting stat. I love it. Something probably out of the box. It's the complete opposite for most races. Melbourne Cup, you sort of pen anything that's running before, but I think
it's an interesting one.
That for you, definitely not yourself, but
I stumbled over it myself, mate. You wouldn't believe it. You know, the broken clock. You know the old theory, mate. All right, punters, racing fans, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back bigger and better than ever next week. Dino, thank you so much for your time.
Cheers, mate. Cheers.